Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now, in today's episode, we're going to take a look at airline and hotel travel partners of credit card issuers. So, of course, we'll talk about what they are, how they work, the things you should keep in mind when you go to look at the best way to transfer your points to get maximum value. So, of course, if that sounds interesting to you, then go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, when it comes to this, we're talking about the travel side of the world. Credit cards have cash back and we have travel cards. So we're talking about travel cards. And when you earn points with travel cards, you have a few different options on how you want to redeem them. So first of all, if you think about it, you have your co-branded cards, right? A Delta card, a United card, a Hilton card. Those cards are going to earn travel points, but they're automatically going to be deposited into that specific chain's account, right? So your Delta miles earned on the Delta Gold end up in your Delta Sky Miles account automatically. Then you have something that I call a travel agnostic card. So this is something like a Sapphire Preferred, an Amex Platinum, a Gold card, cards that are very focused on travel, but they're not necessarily locked into any one chain, right? Because they earn Ultimate Reward points or MR points or Venture Miles, you name it, right? So those points live, with the card issuer in your account there. Then when it comes to time to redeem them, you have basically two paths. Now, yes, you can redeem them for cash and gift cards and merch, but that's probably a terrible redemption. So you have really two realistic options. And that is either, most credit card companies have an internal travel portal, or you can transfer them out to transfer partners. So we'll take a look at portals in a separate video, but for now, we're going to talk about travel partners. So what is a travel partner? Well, credit card companies, all the main ones, so you're talking again, Chase, Amex, Citi, Capital One, guys like that, they have partners with the airline and the hotel space that they are partnered with, and then they allow you to transfer your points over to that chain, right? So Chase Ultimate Reward points, right? That's the currency that Chase earns. You can transfer those to a Hyatt or a Marriott or something like that. American Express is big with Delta and Hilton, right? And that's kind of how it works. It's also a good rule of thumb that, if that credit card company issues their co-branded card, so again, Chase issues the Hyatt card, they're going to be a transfer partner, right? Now, it doesn't mean that every single transfer partner that, is working with them has to have a credit card. It's actually not the case, but the main ones, right? Main ones, but they'll have a long list of them. And we won't talk about the individual examples, but I can put some links down below so you can see who has what. And I'll put some stuff on screen as well. That's kind of the gist of it, right? So how does all this work? Well, again, first of all, the card issuer is going to have to be a partner with that chain. And then what you're going to need to do is going to have an account with, let's just say, Delta, right? You're going to have a Delta Sky Miles account that's free to get. You're going to get a Sky Miles number. Then you can go to American Express in your profile, and you can actually link your two accounts together. It's really easy. You just put in your Sky Miles number and your name. Well, the Amex will actually have your contact information there. They do a quick check to make sure the names match, the Sky Miles number is there, and then just like that, they are linked together, and that basically enables you the ability to transfer membership reward points over to Delta, right? So it's actually really easy and really set up. Now, that's how it works. So what are the things that you need to know before actually doing this? Well, there are a few things to keep in mind here. And really, here you go. The pros would be its ease of use. Now, the other one will be transfer bonuses. There's a good value proposition to be had here. The issuer partner ecosystem, and then, of course, booking directly allows you to keep your loyalty status. So those are the things of why you would want to do it. But realistically, let's break those down a little bit. So again, when you're looking at it, there are going to be ratios. Now, the base ratio you want is just like how we do in points, 1 cent per point. So ideally, you would want 1 MR point to equal 1 Sky Miles point on the transfer, right? You wouldn't want to send one, membership reward point to Delta and only get half a Sky Miles point. That's not the best redemption, clearly. So your 1-to-1 is how the vast majority of them work. I think Capital One was the last holdout, but even they have, updated the vast majority of their transfer partners to be 1-to-1. Now, in addition to that, a lot of these guys run transfer bonuses where it'll actually be like they transfer at a 1-to-2 ratio. So 1 MR point will maybe equal 2 Hilton points or something like that. That's a pretty good way to pick up some free points as well. Again, it is very easy to do. Again, you can see you just put in the amount you want to transfer. Now, sometimes you do have to transfer in, like whole numbers. So it might be like you have to transfer a minimum of 1,000 points or something like that. You can't do weird numbers, but other than that, it's very easy to do. Now, in addition to that, again, we talked about the value proposition, and I can link something for you down below on how to calculate the cent per point valuation, but the equation is still the same because, again, it's widely accepted that, you'll get better value transferring and booking directly with the airline. So I do Delta a lot, and, Delta is usually valued about 1.2 cents on point for Sky Mile. So again, if you take one MR point, you send it over here to Delta. Yes, you've got one Sky Mile, but we can safely value Sky Miles at 1.2 cents, which is a little bit of a more elevated valuation than you would have got cashing out something like that, right? So that's kind of how it works there, and it's definitely pros. The other pro I'd say is I find it much easier to book directly with the airline or hotel. When you do that, you're going to get to keep your status, right? If you go through travel portals or things like that, hotels especially don't like to honor your status. Travel portals, for me, we won't touch on it too much, but travel portals usually have a spot where you can enter in your airline number because so much is tied to your airline number, whether you got global entry or stuff like that. But for whatever reason, hotels do not like to honor status. Your mileage may vary if you can get them to add it on when you get to the desk later, but again, we'll save that for the other video about Portal. So again, there's really that's the main wins for using this is the value prop you're going to get. But there are some things you need to keep in mind before you send your points over there as well. So let's take a look at this now. Again, point conversion rates, we talked about it. Blackout dates, transfers are final, transfer taxes, no portal points boost, and then timing of those transfers. So what we mean by this is, again, we talked about conversion rates. You always want a 1-to-1. It's not always going to be a 1-to-1. It really depends on what they've worked out. Sometimes there are transfer fees. I believe American Express does have a transfer tax on transferring out to airlines for whatever reason. They're like the only ones who do it, I think. It's very annoying. Another thing you have to know that once you transfer your points over, it's final. You cannot transfer them back. And that's how, blackout dates come into play. It's a lot better than it used to be, is my understanding, but airlines, hotels used to put in dates where hey, you can't redeem points on these days. And of course, it'd be all the popular days people wanted to go places. So normally the best rule of thumb is to, make sure there's availability, before you push over your points because you can't get them back. Another thing is timing of how long a transfer can take. Most transfers are instant, but some can take a few days to fully settle. So if your, time is of the essence, it's going to take a minute to actually do that. And again, when we talk portals, travel portals like the Chase Sapphire, Chase Ultimate Rewards portal and Chase Sapphire Reserve, if you go through that, there's points boost. There's 25% or 50% points boost depending on which cards you hold. Obviously, there's not going to be a points boost if you do transfer partners, but again, there could be transfer bonuses. So it really just kind of depends. But there's one mistake I see a lot of folks make. They talk about the cards that give you the points boost, but then they use transfer partners. You just can't value it the same way if you prefer to use transfer partners. And of course, while we're on the topic of Chase, it's also important to note that, for Chase, this being a popular issue, you do need specific cards to be able to transfer. You need to, move your points from a Freedom Flex or an Unlimited or an Ink Cash or Unlimited to either Sapphire Reserve, Sapphire Preferred, or Ink Preferred, and that's what allows you to enable transfer partners there. But other than that, again, it's pretty straightforward in how you use them. It's not too bad overall, and I do prefer myself transfer partners when it comes to hotels because, again, of the status. Airlines, I don't really mind as much because I don't really have status with an airline, so it hasn't really bothered me. But again, hotels, at one point I did have the Marriott Gold, the Hilton Gold, that whole thing, so I did find it easier to transfer over. Another thing for me personally, right, this is just a personal thing, I do like editing, any reservations or updating things in the proprietary app of the airline or the hotel versus the portal as well. So that's another point for me. It's it's easier to manage everything and all the bookings over there than if I go through the portal. But realistically, again, if you're playing travel card game, I do think unless you're getting a points boost from the portal that you're using, again, like Chase, that I do think, travel partners is probably the way to go in the game to learn. Now, again, some of these valuations get out there and get a little bit crazy. I think it's a safe bet to, you can reference the points guys, valuation charts. They do a good job of updating them. But again, the easiest way is going to be able to do the math out for yourself, which that full video will down below will walk you through it, how to if you're interested. And again, with me, if I'm being honest, we'll close on this. I'm usually simply not trying to pay cash. So unless the evaluation is really, really terrible, then I might not do it. But overall, I simply don't want to pay cash. So for me, even then, I've got to go for convenience of transferring them out. Anything else. The last part here is that you can look to build out a setup to support your favorite chain. So again, we talked about it. If you like Delta, then you might want to get Amex cards plus a Delta card, all issued by American Express, which are pretty good because again, you can earn Delta miles on Delta with your Delta card. Plus, in your everyday spending, you can use your Amex cards to earn membership reward points and transfer them out. The most flexible chain, I think, is Marriott, because again, Marriott is a partner with Chase and American Express, meaning that you have a wide range of cards to choose from. You have the Marriott and Chase co-branded cards that you can choose from. Again, remember the one lane rule, so you can't really double dip bonuses on the Marriott cards, but again, that makes them probably one of the more flexible ones. But again, you can see how you can put together a strategy there of earning a ton of ultimate reward points, having the Hyatt card to get you some level of status. So you almost have, you'd have like a ton of Hyatt points given how easy it is to earn ultimate reward points. That would probably be the best strategy when you go through and try to figure out who you want to use and what cards you want to get to support your setup. So anyways, guys, that's been it for Transfer Partners. Of course, if you like this one, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel. Again, posting content just like this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Of course, right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. Question for you guys is, let me know what your favorite transfer partners are and what are your favorite card setups that help support those transfer partners, or do you prefer the travel portal? Again, that video will be coming soon. Nothing wrong with a good travel portal though. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching and talk to you very soon in the next one.